We live in a knowledge society. Knowledge is our most important asset. But what good is it if it only exists in individual minds? How does knowledge get from A to B? And why is that sometimes so difficult? Many people think, knowledge transfer? That's easy. You write it down, send it by email, or save it in a wiki. But it's not that simple. Knowledge transfer means that knowledge is passed on from one person, team, or organization to another. The transfer process begins with recognizing the need to pass on knowledge. And it only ends when this knowledge is understood and used. You could also say when the knowledge base of the receiving party has changed. And that's not so easy to achieve. On one hand, there's the knowledge itself. Explicit knowledge is easy to document, for example in manuals or checklists. Tacit or implicit knowledge, on the other hand, is embedded in experience, routines, and skills. It's difficult to put into words and is often passed on unconsciously, for example through working together or observation. An example: an experienced colleague leaves the organization. Her basic work processes may already be documented, but how does she solve problems? What does she pay attention to? How does she make decisions? This often remains hidden if there is no active, systematic knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer can take place in various ways. Through documentation for explicit knowledge. Through interactive and communicative formats such as mentoring, tandems, or job shadowing for implicit knowledge. Through experience reports and lessons learned for context-related knowledge. The knowledge management toolbox is well stocked. The challenge lies in choosing the right method for the knowledge in question, taking into account the framework conditions. Knowledge transfer, therefore, needs to be well planned. Which method for which knowledge, at what depth, for which target audience? And that's not all. There are further challenges. A lack of appreciation for knowledge transfer, unclear responsibilities, and sometimes we ourselves don't realize what we actually know. Perhaps the biggest challenge, however, is a lack of time. There is never enough time. It is therefore important to focus on critical knowledge, that is knowledge that is relevant to the provisioning of the service, the performance of the business process, and will remain relevant in the foreseeable future. Knowledge that is not only insufficiently documented or cannot be documented at all. And finally, knowledge that is only in one head. If all of this applies, the risk of knowledge loss is high and it is worth investing energy in knowledge transfer. However, time is especially limited if you start too late. For example, only when a critical knowledge carrier leaves the organization. It is much smarter to make knowledge transfer a routine practice in the organization, and to do so informally, for example through communities of practice, for the continuous exchange of experience. Simply explained, knowledge transfer is more than just moving around files. It is an active social process in which people share their knowledge, consciously and unconsciously, formally and informally, so that knowledge is not lost, but continues to have an impact.